TK students, it's Mrs. Bellatash, and we're going to continue talking about rocks. I love rocks. I love our planet Earth. Now, we've been talking about two types of rocks. We observed them. We looked carefully. The first type of rock that we looked at was sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary. And sedimentary rocks were like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with layers, or bunches of cookies all crumpled together and then cemented together. Sedimentary rocks. And then we learned about igneous rocks. And igneous rocks are rocks from fire. And igneous rocks can come from a volcano. Today, we're going to talk about a third type of rock called metamorphic. Man, that is such a big word. I think you can do it though. Let's clap. Metamorphic. Metamorphic. 4 syllables. Metamorphic. And I'm going to put it on my word wall right there. Metamorphic rocks. A metamorphic rock is a rock that has been changed by heat and pressure. And I'm going to show you how to make a delicious metamorphic rock. So this is what you need in order to make a metamorphic rock. You need 1 piece of bread and some peanut butter, and I'm going to spread the peanut butter on my bread. And I'm putting peanut butter on both sides of 1 piece of bread, which I cut in half, okay? So now I've got peanut butter on those 2 sides of my bread. And I have some wax paper because we're gonna do something where something might get a little squishy. And I wanna be able to have some wax paper on the bottom, and I'm gonna put wax paper on the top. Now I'm gonna get my blueberry jam. You don't have to have blueberry. You can have strawberry or grape, whatever you would like. And I'm going to put some of my jam in the middle. And you might think to yourself, Mrs. Bellatash, this seems like a sedimentary rock. Well, it is kind of like a sedimentary rock until the next step. So now I've got my peanut butter and jelly, and I'm gonna put my other piece of bread on top. So right now, I'm gonna get this a little bit. Yummy. Now it looks like a sedimentary rock. Layers. But this is where it's going to change. I'm gonna so I have wax paper underneath. I have wax paper on top. And now I'm gonna squash this sandwich. I'm going to apply pressure. And this is what happens to rocks on Earth during a mountain building event. They get squashed and squished, and they change. Metamorphic rocks are rocks that have been changed. And I think I'm changing my rock right now. Okay, I'm gonna take off my wax paper. And now you can see my rock was changed. It used to be thicker. Now it's flat and everything is in a line. Metamorphic rocks get squished and folded, and sometimes you might see them, in a fold like this. But guess what? They're still delicious. Well, that was a delicious metamorphic rock. You might remember that there was another sedimentary rock that we made. It was chocolate chips and marshmallows and peanut butter. Well, I made another one, and the jelly and the peanut butter cements the rocks together. But just like I changed the last sedimentary rock, I'm going to change this one. I'm going to put another piece of wax paper on top, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to squash it. Squash, squash. energetic about that, didn't I? Now my rock looks different. It's all smashed flat. A lot of times, metamorphic rocks are flat and have lines. But guess what? They still taste good. Okay, metamorphic rocks are the rocks that are found in mountains, because when mountains are made, there's a lot of pressure pushing those soils and rocks together. Now, you guys are going to learn how to make a mountain. So you need a towel. It doesn't have to be a big towel, but a towel. And then we're going to use our hands to be the parts of the earth that's going to be pressing the towel together. So I've got my hand on each edge of the towel, and I'm going to slowly push in. And what do you guys start to see? Do you see that the towel is folding up? Well, that's kind of how a mountain is formed. So if the rocks that are being pushed are kind of soft, they'll be kind of soft rolling mountains. Now I have a big pile of paper, which I put into 2 piles, and I put them side by side on the table. Now, just like we used our hands to push the towel together, now we're gonna push the papers together. Oh, look at that. I made a very tall, pointy mountain. And because the paper is stiffer than the cloth, the mountain looks different. Depending on the type of material, hard rock, soft rock, mud, sand, you're going to get different shapes of mountains. TK students, I want to read a little bit of this book, How Mountains Are Made, and it's written by Kathleen Weidner-Zofield, and it's illustrated by James Graham Hale. How Mountains Are Made. On Saturdays, sometimes we go mountain climbing. We follow a trail through a thick forest. At first, the climb is easy. Then it gets steeper and steeper. We stop on a rock ledge halfway up and eat our lunch. There they are. When we reach the top, we can see out in every direction. There are hardly any trees up there, and the land is rocky. We spend a long time looking at the rocks. Here's one with the shape of a seashell in it. It's a fossil. This mountain is more than 4,000 feet high. That's nearly a mile. There are no oceans up here. How did a sea animal get to the top of this mountain? Millions of years ago, Mount Everest and other mountains was not a mountain at all. They were a flat plain under the ocean. Our mountain was part of the flat plain under an ocean too. All sorts of sea animals lived right here. But that was a long, long, long time ago. Many changes have happened since then. The earth is always changing. Old mountains disappear. They are worn away by ice, rain, and flowing water. New mountains form where there were no mountains before. We can't see the changes happening though. Mountains are built up and worn down over hundreds of millions of years. The earth is like a ball with different layers. And the outer crust is broken into pieces called plates. Mountains in different parts of the world look different from one another. Some have sharp, pointy peaks. Some are rounded. Some are shaped like blocks, and some are volcanic. Do you see the different shapes? That's because in different parts of the world, the outer shell of the earth moves in different ways. In some places, the plates are pressing against each other. The tremendous pressure forces the crust to fold over itself. Hey, that makes me think of when we use the towel. Oh, look! They're doing the same experiment. They're pushing together and making rounded mountains. Some mountains have been around for hundreds of millions of years. Others are being made right now. Scientists have a special way of knowing how old a mountain is, and that is by studying the fossils that they find. This mountain and other mountains around our town used to be much taller than they are now. They used to be sharp and craggy, but now they are lower and smoother. For millions of years, rain, ice, and flowing water have worn our mountains down. Millions of years from now, the rain, ice, and flowing water will have worn down our mountains completely. Great job today, TK students. So we learned about the 3 different types of rocks. We learned about sedimentary rocks. We learned about igneous rocks. And today we learned about metamorphic rocks. 3 different types of rocks that are found on Earth. After winter break, we're going to start taking a look at dirt, at soil, and find out what soil is made of. All right, have a wonderful break, boys and girls. Keep looking at rocks. Make a little rock collection. I love rocks. Of course, I don't love rocks as much as I love you. Have a wonderful break. See you next time.